There are few man-made devices that can rival Mother Nature when it comes to the destructive power of natural disasters. They usually strike with little or no warning, leaving untold devastation, shattered dreams, and even death in their wake.
In this era of on-the-spot media coverage, for a brief period of time, we all become spectators to the fury that's unleashed by hurricanes, floods, earthquakes, fires, and other disasters. But to those who are directly involved, the pain, suffering, and loss continues long after the headlines disappear. The important issue immediately becomes helping the survivors and their families rebuild and get on with their lives. Like here on the eastern seaboard, where hurricanes have carved a multi-billion-dollar path of destruction across the landscape. Usually, the task of coping with catastrophes of this magnitude is too overwhelming for any municipality or state government. That's when the President of the United States can decide to put the job in the hands of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA.
One of the challenges of being deployed with the Federal Emergency Management Administration for a disaster response is that it's very unpredictable. You have to be able to deploy quickly. You have to be able to respond to not only the disaster side, but the human side.
Their role is actually to get that person back into a living condition that is safe, sanitary, and secure. Meaning that if they've been displaced because of utilities or because their home is destroyed, that's what we're looking at.
FEMA's #1 priority is really customer satisfaction. In the event of an emergency, there's always a lot of attention paid by the president on down, including the media, to how the victims of the disaster are actually being assisted by the government. So they get intense scrutiny by the media, and therefore their #1 focus is really customer satisfaction.
In this case, satisfying customers means helping victims traumatized by their experience and who want desperately to return to a life of normalcy. Obviously, the first priority is assessing the damage and posting a check to the victim as soon as possible.
In the past, armies of commercial insurance inspectors were dispatched to the scene to expedite matters.
But the entire process was usually buried in a quagmire of paperwork. Reviewing data and processing checks often took weeks, even months, which seemed like light years to those trying to put their lives back together again.
Today, that's all changing. FEMA is employing a powerful high-tech solution to disaster response, Telzon technology. These rugged pen-based mobile computers enable inspectors to eliminate time-consuming paperwork in the appraisal and review process and speed the flow of vital information to processing centers. Now the gap between disaster and recovery has shortened dramatically.
The inspectors are able, therefore, to focus more on the people and on the aspects of the adjustment to make sure that they get an accurate assessment of the situation than on the paper tracking that typically, has bogged down other activities. Additionally, they're able to remain deployed throughout a disaster area because the system uses telecommunications and a wide area network so that they can go ahead and pick up all of their assignments electronically and also complete and file their work electronically.
This unique approach to disaster relief is a joint effort involving Computer Science Corporation, CSC, which has a prime contract to perform disaster inspections for FEMA, Semaphore Corporation, systems integrator for mobile communications, and Telzon Corporation, a world leader in mobile computing and wireless networking solutions.
Now, hundreds of experienced insurance inspectors, armed with the electronic tools needed to quickly expedite the appraisal process, can be deployed to the scene in a matter of hours. First, CSC establishes a Disaster Assistance Center, complemented by a separate FEMA field office. With Telzon mobile computers in hand, inspectors are then dispatched to pre-assigned areas. Each day through CompuServe, they access the FEMA Central Control Network headquartered in Virginia. Assignments for that day, relayed from calls to a special disaster hotline, are automatically downloaded into the Telzon devices. At the same time, completed inspection information from the previous day is uploaded to Central Control for quality review and processing.
Initially, what the inspector sees is the applicant's name, address, any essential information can be included in the form of a comment or two. For example, not living at the home because it's totally destroyed, contact them at such and such number, such and such address. Generally, there's no involved description of the damage. It's just that we've been flooded or we've been suffered a loss from an earthquake.
With preliminary information in hand, the adjuster immediately begins making appointments for the day, which may number up to 20 or more. Major disasters might produce tens of thousands of applications and require FEMA personnel to remain on site for up to 6 months or longer.
During the phone conversation where the inspector sets up the appointment, he or she might make an effort to extract from each applicant the type of damage, number of rooms, and so on and so forth. And they'll do some preliminary work during the night on their handheld unit to prepare for that response.
Once in the field, the adjuster completes a profile to determine the level of qualified assistance. Telzon Select Touch technology helps streamline the process with built-in estimating tools common to the appraisal and construction industry. These include up-to-date regional prices for materials and labor used in repairing or rebuilding or in assessing a total loss.
We use handwriting recognition as well as providing a virtual keypad on the Telzon PTC so that the inspector has the option of either writing their information in and allowing the computer to recognize it or typing it in on a virtual keypad. The system steps the inspector through every phase of the inspection by prompting them after they've gathered the applicant's information and verified occupancy. It then prompts them to go through the house room by room to assess the damage.
In each case, the Telzon computer is modified with disaster-specific information corresponding to the requirements of that specific circumstance.
The entire pen computing application allows the adjuster to determine what sort of assistance the individual qualifies for and in what amount on the spot.
Peterson says adjusters have welcomed replacing time-consuming paperwork with easy-to-use Telzon computers.
We've created a quick reference guide that goes out with every inspector that gives them the tips and techniques that are necessary to use the pen computer. Part of the advantage of performing the inspections electronically, though, is that it doesn't require as much training for the inspector. The interface is a very graphical, intuitive interface that allows the inspector to very quickly become proficient doing the inspections. By using the pen computer, he's able to simply read the instruction on the screen, assess the situation, select the correct information, and then move on to the next part of the inspection.
The adjuster really does not have to be computer literate at all.
A major benefit of the new system is the flexibility it provides, including the ability to quickly organize and prioritize assignments.
When this was a paper process, you weren't able to prioritize as well who needed assistance first and who could wait a little bit. With the pen computers, there's an automatic ability to sort the applications by the nature of the disaster so that the people who are affected are able to get assistance most quickly.
Today, thanks to technology from Computer Sciences, Telzon, and Semaphore corporations, victims of natural disasters are getting their lives back to normal much quicker. Checks are now being issued in days instead of weeks, and the day is not too far off when adjusters will process claims and deliver checks on the spot.